The Great Hall of the Galactic Council was older than human civilization. Its walls were made of crystal that had been carved when humans still lived in caves. Light from a dying star filled the chamber through windows taller than mountains. 47 species sat in their assigned places, arranged in circles that showed their rank. The Elder Five sat at the center, on thrones made of metals that Earth had no name for. Everyone else sat around them like children waiting for permission to speak. Ambassador Hannah Yoon stood at the lowest platform. She was a small woman with gray hair and calm eyes. She had been coming to this chamber for 30 years. She had memorized every insult. She had counted every laugh. And she had reported everything back to Earth. Today was the annual petition. Every year, humanity asked for full membership in the Council. Every year, they were refused. The species known as humans requests recognition, announced the Council speaker. A tall being with forearms and skin like polished wood. They wish to move from observer status to full membership. Does any elder wish to respond? Elder Vothrak of the Drelvian Empire rose from his throne. He was ancient, even by galactic standards. His body was covered in scales the color of dried blood. His eyes held the cold patience of a predator who had never known fear. "I will respond," Vothrak said. His voice echoed through the chamber like thunder in an empty valley. The humans have been observers for 80% of their short years. In that time, what have they contributed? Nothing. What have they discovered? Nothing we did not already know. What have they built? Toys. Primitive machines that would embarrass a child of my species. Laughter filled the chamber. Dozens of species joined in, their voices mixing into a sound that Hannah had heard too many times. Vothrak raised one clawed hand and silence returned. The humans live for less than a century, he continued. They are born, they panic, they breed, and they die. They are emotional creatures driven by fear and desire. They fight wars over lines drawn in dirt. They poison their own world for profit. They cannot even agree among themselves. He looked directly at Hannah. "Tell me, human ambassador, why should we give a seat at this table to a species of short-lived vermin playing with fire?" More laughter. Louder this time. Hannah stood perfectly still. Her face showed nothing. She had practiced this expression for 30 years. "The Dralvian elder has spoken," the speaker announced. "Does any member wish to support the human petition?" Silence. The 6 species who sometimes showed kindness to humanity looked away. They could not afford to anger the Elder Five. "The petition is denied," the speaker said. "Humanity will remain at observer status. The ambassador may leave." Hannah bowed. It was a deep bow, the kind that showed complete respect. Then she turned and walked out of the chamber. Her footsteps echoed against the crystal floor. She did not look back. Outside, her assistant was waiting. Minju was young, barely 25, and her eyes were wet with anger. "How can you stay so calm?" Minju whispered. "He called us vermin. He laughed at us." They all laughed. Hannah kept walking toward their ship. "Because anger is what they expect. Silence is what confuses them. But it has been 80 years. When will we fight back?" Hannah stopped. She looked at the young woman with something that might have been pity or might have been hope. "We have been fighting back since the first day," Hannah said. "They just do not know it yet." 12 hours later, Ambassador Hannah Yoon stood in a room that did not officially exist. It was buried 3 kilometers beneath the Korean peninsula, protected by walls that could survive a direct nuclear strike. The room had no windows. The only light came from screens that covered every wall. Admiral Wu Jinkong sat at the head of a long table. He was 58 years old, with a face that looked like it had been carved from stone. He had not smiled in public for 20 years. Some people thought he had forgotten how around him sat 12 others. They were generals, scientists, and intelligence officers. They represented every nation on Earth, but here they worked as one. "Play it again," Admiral Wujin said. The screen showed Elder Vothrak's speech. His words filled the room. Short-lived vermin, playing with fire. The laughter of 47 species. When it ended, the room was silent. 80 years, Admiral Wujin said quietly. For 80 years, we have watched. We have listened. We have learned. They gave us observer status because they thought we were harmless. They let us sit in their halls because they enjoyed having someone to mock. They shared their technology because they believed we were too stupid to understand it. He stood up and walked to the main screen. With one touch, the image changed. It showed a star map with hundreds of red dots scattered across human space. They were wrong. Dr. Sujin Beek, the head of Project Horizon, stepped forward. She was a small woman with glasses and the kind of quiet confidence that came from knowing secrets that could shake the galaxy. Project Horizon is ready, she reported. 300 ships, hidden in locations the Council cannot detect. Each ship carries technology that surpasses anything the Elder Five possess. We have spent 80 years watching them. We know their weapons. We know their shields. We know their weaknesses. And we have built something better. Admiral Wujin nodded slowly. And the Jindo Protocol? A young officer named Lieutenant Minji Seo answered. Fully operational? We can access any network in the galaxy. Military, civilian, personal. They have no idea we are inside their systems. The Admiral turned to face the table. Today, they called us vermin. Today, they laughed at us. Let them laugh. His voice was calm, but something burned behind his eyes. 80 years. We have learned enough. We have built enough. We have been silent long enough. He looked at Ambassador Hannah, who had just arrived from the council chamber. When the time comes, he said, we will not ask for permission to speak. We will make them listen. Hannah met his eyes. For the first time in 30 years, she allowed herself to smile. I look forward to it, she said, and deep in the darkness of space. Hidden among asteroids and moons, 300 ships waited in silence. Their crews did not know when they would be called. They only knew that when the call came, the galaxy would learn what humanity had been doing for 80 years. Waiting, watching, preparing, and remembering. Every single insult. 3 months passed after the council meeting. On Earth, life continued as normal. People went to work. Children went to school. Couples walked through parks and watched the sunset. Nobody knew that far away, in the cold halls of the Galactic Council. Their fate was being decided without them. Lieutenant Mingiesio sat alone in a dark room filled with screens. She was 29 years old, with sharp eyes that never missed anything. Her job was simple, but dangerous. She listened to alien communications. She found their secrets. And she made sure they never knew she was there. Tonight, something was different. The council had called an emergency meeting. Humanity was not invited. This was not unusual. Humans were rarely invited to important meetings. But this time, the security around the communication was stronger than anything Minji had ever seen. That made her curious. It took her 6 hours to break through their encryption. When she finally heard what they were saying, her blood turned cold. Elder Vothric's voice filled her headphones. The human solar system is rich with resources. Their planet has water, minerals, and biological material we can use. Their population is large enough to provide a useful labor force, another voice answered. It belonged to Elder Nolith of the Vexer Collective. Are you proposing a harvest? I am, Vothrak replied. The humans are weak. They have no real military. Their technology is primitive. If we move quickly, we can secure their system before they even understand what is happening. What about their population? Asked a third elder. Vothrak's laugh was like breaking glass. They breed like insects and die like flies. We can relocate the useful ones. The rest. He paused. The rest can be processed with the other organic material. Minji's hands were shaking. She kept listening. We will vote now, said the council speaker. All those in favor of harvesting the human solar system? The votes came quickly. 41 species voted yes. Only 6 voted no. The motion passes, the speaker announced. The Dralvian harvest fleet will depart in 3 months. They will arrive at the human system in 1 year. The humans will not be informed. The communication ended. Mingi sat in the darkness for a long time. Then she reached for her secure line and called Admiral Wujin Kong. 2 hours later, the secret command center was full. Every leader, every general, every scientist who knew about Project Horizon was present. The tension in the room was thick enough to cut with a knife. Admiral Wujan played the recording. The alien voices filled the room. Harvest, relocate, process when it ended. Nobody spoke. President Yoonji Choi was the first to break the silence. She was 62 years old, the elected leader of Earth's unified government. She had known about Project Horizon since the day she took office. She had prayed they would never need to use it. They want to kill us, she said quietly. Not because we threatened them, not because we attacked them, but because they think we are weak enough to kill. General Tai Wu-shin slammed his fist on the table. He was an old soldier, a man who had fought in the last wars before Earth unified. Then we show them we are not weak. We strike first. We destroy their fleet before it even leaves. No, Admiral Wujin said calmly. If we strike first, we become the aggressors. Every species in the galaxy will fear us. They will unite against us. Then what do you suggest? Asked the general. We wait for them to come? We let them harvest our children? Ambassador Hannah Yoon stepped forward. She had been silent until now, her face showing nothing. But her eyes were different. There was fire in them that had been hidden for 30 years. We let them come, she said. We let them enter our space. We let them believe they have already won. And then we show them what we have been building for 80 years. President Yoonji looked at her. You want us to wait while a fleet of 2,000 ships comes to destroy us? I want us to be the ones who are attacked, Hannah replied. I want the entire galaxy to see that humanity did not start this war. The Council did. The Elder Five did. When we destroy their fleet, no one will be able to call us monsters. We will be survivors. We will be defenders. And we will be the species that the mighty Dralvian Empire could not defeat. The room was silent. Then Admiral Wujin nodded slowly. Ambassador Yoon is right. We have 1 year to prepare. 1 year to move our ships into position. 1 year to make sure every system is perfect. He looked around the table. For 80 years we stayed silent. For 80 years we watched and learned and built in secret. This is what we were preparing for. This is why we never fought back when they laughed at us. He walked to the star map and pointed at Earth. They think we are vermin. They think we will panic and run. They think we will beg for mercy. His voice was hard as iron. They are wrong. When their fleet arrives, they will find something they never expected. They will find a species that has been planning for this moment since the day we were discovered. Dr. Sujin Beek raised her hand. Admiral, Project Horizon is ready, but I need to know. Are we trying to survive, or are we trying to win? Admiral Wujin looked at her. For the first time in 20 years, something like a smile crossed his face. Doctor, we are not going to survive. We are not going to win. We are going to teach the galaxy a lesson it will never forget. He turned to face everyone. We are going to show them what happens when you try to harvest humanity. The meeting lasted for more hours. Plans were made. Orders were given. Ships were moved. Weapons were tested. Every person in that room knew that they were preparing for the most important battle in human history. When the meeting ended, Lieutenant Minji Su found herself standing next to Ambassador Hannah. Are you scared? Minji asked. Hannah looked at the young woman. No, I have been waiting for this moment for 30 years. Every time they laughed at us, every time they called us animals, every time they treated us like children, I knew this day would come. I knew that one day they would push too far. Now they have, Hannah nodded. Now they have. And now they will learn what humanity is really made of? Outside, the stars shone cold and distant. Somewhere out there, a fleet of 2,000 ships was preparing to destroy Earth. They did not know that they were flying into a trap. They did not know that the vermin they planned to harvest had teeth, and in 1 year, they would find out. The galaxy believed humans were primitive. They looked at Earth and saw a small planet with simple technology. They saw short-lived creatures who fought among themselves. They saw a species that had only traveled to their own moon before the Council found them. They were wrong about everything. Captain Junho Park stood on the bridge of the stealth vessel Magangwa. He was 34 years old, tall and strong, with the kind of face that made people trust him immediately. He had been in the secret fleet for 10 years. He had trained for a war that he hoped would never come. Now that war was coming, and he was ready. The Magangwa floated in the darkness between Jupiter and Saturn. From the outside, the ship looked like an asteroid. Its hull was covered in special material that absorbed all signals. No scanner in the galaxy could detect it. The Council's best technology would look right at it and see nothing but empty space. This was human engineering. This was what 80 years of silence had built. "Captain," said his first officer, a young woman named Heian Cho. "We are receiving the final briefing from Admiral Wu Jin." Gunho nodded. "Put it on screen." Admiral Wu Jin appeared on the main display. Behind him, Yunho could see the bridge of the Ararung, the flagship of the human fleet. It was the largest ship ever built by Earth, a warship that could destroy a small moon. "Attention all vessels," the Admiral said. "Today, I am going to tell you what we have been building for 80 years. Today, you will understand why we stayed silent." The screen changed to show a map of the solar system, hidden among the asteroids. Moons and empty space were 300 red dots. This is the Horizon Fleet. 300 warships built in secret, designed to fight and win against any enemy in the galaxy. Each ship carries weapons that the Council has never seen. Each ship is faster, stronger, and smarter than anything the Elder Five possess. The Admiral's voice was calm, but there was pride in his eyes. "For 80 years we watched the Council. We studied their technology. We found their weaknesses. They thought they were teaching us like children. They did not realize we were learning like spies." He paused, and we learned well. The screen showed technical diagrams. Engines, weapons, shields. Our ships use the Phantom Drive, designed by engineer Nari Kim and her team. It allows faster-than-light travel without leaving any energy signature. The Council's sensors cannot detect our jumps. We can appear anywhere in the galaxy without warning. Another diagram appeared. Our weapons use focused gravity technology. Single shot from our main cannons can crush a battleship like a piece of paper. The Council's shields were not designed to stop this kind of attack. Their defenses are useless against us. Captain Junho watched with growing wonder. He had known the fleet was advanced, but he had not understood how advanced. Our shields use quantum displacement. Enemy weapons pass through us without making contact. We exist in a state between dimensions. Hitting us is like trying to grab water. The Admiral's face returned to the screen. The Dralvian Harvest Fleet has 2,000 ships. They believe this is more than enough to destroy humanity. They are bringing miners and cargo vessels because they expect no resistance. A cold smile crossed his face. They will find 300 ships that can destroy their entire fleet in hours, and they will never see us coming. Far away from the fleet, in a laboratory beneath the ocean floor, Dr. Sujin Beek was explaining another secret to a small group of engineers. "The Jindo Protocol is not just a hacking system," she said. "It is a living program. For 50 years it has been spreading through the galactic network like a disease. It exists in every military computer, every government system, every personal device. The Council has no idea it is there." She pulled up a display showing a web of connections that covered the entire galaxy. "When we activate the protocol, we will control everything. Their weapons will not fire, their shields will not activate, their communications will go silent. They will be blind and deaf, and they will not understand why." One young engineer raised her hand. "What if they disconnect from the network?"
Actor?
Sujin smiled. "The protocol is not in their network. It is in their hardware. It has rewritten their basic programming. Even if they destroy every computer they have, the protocol will still be there, waiting." She looked at the map of galactic connections. "They thought we were primitive. They gave us access to their technology because they thought we could not understand it. They invited us into their networks because they thought we were harmless." Her voice was soft but filled with satisfaction. "Now we own their networks. Now we understand their technology better than they do. And when the time comes, we will turn their own creations against them." Back on the Magangwa, Captain Junho gathered his crew in the main hall. There were 150 people on his ship, men and women from every nation on Earth. They had given up normal lives to serve in a fleet that did not officially exist. Now they would finally know why. For 10 years, we have trained in secret, Junho said. For 10 years, we have wondered when our time would come. We know. He looked at their faces, seeing fear and determination mixed together. In 1 year, a fleet of 2,000 ships will arrive to harvest our planet. They're coming to kill our families, enslave our children, and take everything we have ever built. He let the words sink in. They think we cannot fight back. They think we are weak and primitive. They've never seen our ships. They have never faced our weapons. They do not know that for 80 years, while they laughed at us, we were preparing for this moment. His voice grew stronger. We are the shield between earth and destruction. We are the sword that will cut down our enemies. We are the voice that will finally answer 80 years of insults. He raised his fist. They wanted silence. They got silence. But now the silence ends. Now humanity speaks. And when we speak, the galaxy will listen. The crew cheered. The sound echoed through the ship like thunder. In the darkness of space, 300 ships waited. Their crews trained every day, preparing for a battle that would change everything. They checked their weapons, tested their engines, and studied their enemy. The harvest fleet was coming. The Council believed humanity would fall without a fight. They had no idea what was waiting for them. And in less than 1 year, they would find out. The Dralvian harvest fleet emerged from faster-than-light travel at the edge of the human solar system. 2,000 ships filled the darkness like a swarm of metal locusts. Battleships, carriers, destroyers, and behind them, the mining vessels and cargo ships that would strip Earth of everything valuable. Elder Vorthrok stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Eternal Dominion. He was pleased. The journey had been smooth. There were no problems, and ahead of him, a planet full of resources waited to be taken. "Scan the system," he ordered. "Find any human vessels." His crew worked quickly. Seconds passed. Then the sensor officer turned to him with a confused expression. "Elder, our scanners show nothing. No military vessels, no defense platforms. Nothing but civilian ships near their planet." Vorthrok laughed. "Of course. The vermin do not even have a real military. This will be easier than I expected." He waved his claw. "Move the fleet toward Earth. Signal the mining vessels to prepare for landing. This harvest begins today." The fleet moved forward. 2,000 ships traveled through human space like they owned it. No one challenged them. No one tried to stop them. The humans seemed to have accepted their fate. Then Admiral Wujin Kong gave the order. "All ships, drop stealth. Show them what they came to harvest." In an instant, space changed. 300 human ships appeared out of nothing. They did not fly in from somewhere else. They did not emerge from hiding spots. 1 second, space was empty. The next second, 300 warships surrounded the Dralvian fleet like wolves around a flock of sheep. On the Eternal Dominion, alarms screamed. "Elder." The sensor officer shouted, 300 vessels. They appeared from nowhere. Our sensors never detected them." Vorthrok stared at the display. His ancient heart felt something it had not felt in centuries. "Fear, possible," he whispered. "Their technology cannot do this. They are primitive. They are vermin." Communication signal cut through all channels. Admiral Wujin's face appeared on every screen in both fleets. His voice reached every ship, every soldier, and through the galactic network, every species in the Council. "For 80 years we listened," Wujin said. His voice was calm and cold. "We learned your languages. We studied your wars. We memorized your weaknesses. You called us vermin. You called us primitive. You decided to erase us without even asking our names." He paused. The galaxy held its breath. "So let me introduce humanity. We are the species that turns silence into a weapon. We are the species that remembers every insult. And we are the species that has decided today to stop being quiet." The communication ended. Captain Junho Park gripped the arms of his command chair. All weapons ready. Target the lead battleships. Fire on my command. His crew moved with perfect precision. 10 years of training had prepared them for this moment. Every hand was steady. Every mind was focused. Fire. The Magangua's main cannons released a beam of focused gravity. It struck a Dralvian battleship directly in the center. For 1 second, nothing happened. Then the ship crumpled, like paper being crushed by an invisible hand. Metal screamed. Engines exploded. 1,000 Dralvian soldiers died in an instant. Across the battlefield, 300 human ships fired at once. The effect was devastating. Dralvian vessels tried to raise shields. The shields meant nothing. Human weapons passed through them like they were not there. Ships exploded. Bodies floated in space. In the first 5 minutes, 200 Dralvian vessels were destroyed. Vothrak screamed orders. Return fire. All ships, focus on the nearest enemy. The Dralvian fleet responded. Thousands of weapons fired at the human ships. Energy beams, missiles, plasma cannons. Every weapon the Elder Five had developed over millions of years, nothing worked. The human ships flickered like ghosts. Weapons passed through them without making contact. The quantum displacement shields made them almost impossible to hit. They are not real. One Dralvian officer shouted, "Our weapons cannot touch them." "They're real enough to destroy us," Vothrak growled. "Signal the council. Tell them we need reinforcements." His communication officer turned pale. "Elder, our communications are not working. Something has infected our systems. We cannot send any signals." Vothrak felt his fear growing. "What about our weapons? Our navigation?" The officer checked his screens. "Weapons are responding slowly. Navigation is corrupted. Our systems are failing all across the fleet." The Jindo protocol had activated. 50 years of hidden code was now awake. Across the Dralvian fleet, computers began to malfunction. Targeting systems pointed the wrong direction. Engine controls gave false readings. Communication channels filled with static. The mighty Dralvian fleet was blind, deaf, and crippled. Pilot Heian Cho led the 7th Strike Wing through the chaos. Her fighter was small and fast, designed for precision attacks. Her target was the Eternal Dominion. "All pilots follow me. We take out their flagship. We end this today." 20 fighters flew toward Vothrak's massive ship. Dralvian guns tried to track them, but the infected computers could not aim properly. Shots flew wild, missing by kilometers. Heian smiled. "Just like the simulations. They cannot even see us." Her wing reached the Eternal Dominion. They fired at its engines, its weapons, its communication towers. Each shot was perfect. Each hit caused massive damage. Inside the flagship, fires burned. Crew members ran in panic. The great ship that had destroyed civilizations was now helpless. Captain Junho received new orders from Admiral Wu Jin. "Strike team, prepare for boarding. We are taking Elder Vothrak alive." Junho led 50 soldiers through the broken hull of the Eternal Dominion. They moved quickly, eliminating resistance with weapons the Dravians had never encountered. In 30 minutes, they reached the bridge. The door exploded inward. Junho stepped through the smoke with his weapon raised. Elder Vothrak stood in the center of his ruined bridge. His scales were covered in ash. His eyes burned with hatred and disbelief. "This is impossible," the elder said. "You are primitive. You are nothing. How did you do this?" Junho walked toward him slowly. "You gave us 80 years. You let us watch you. You let us learn from you. You thought we were too stupid to understand?" He stopped directly in front of the ancient alien. "You were wrong about us. You were wrong about everything." Vothrak raised a clawed hand to strike. Junho caught it easily. Human strength against Dralvian strength. The elder was surprised to find that he could not break free. "For 80 years, you laughed at us," Junho said. "You called us vermin. You planned to harvest us like animals." He forced Vothrak to his knees. "Now look around. Your fleet is burning. Your empire is watching, and you are kneeling before the vermin you tried to destroy. Outside, the battle was ending. Of 2,000 Dralvian ships, fewer than 300 survived. They were surrounded, their systems dead, their weapons useless. Human ships moved among them, accepting surrenders. Admiral Wujin's voice broadcast across the galaxy once more. The Dralvian harvest fleet has been destroyed. Elder Vothrak has been captured. All Dralvian vessels will surrender immediately or be destroyed. There will be no negotiation. Across the council, 47 species watched in silence. The species they had mocked for 80 years had just crushed the most powerful military in the galaxy. In 6 hours, without losing a single ship, the age of elder dominance was over. The age of humanity had begun. 1 year had passed since the Battle of Earth. The galaxy was different now. Everything had changed. And it had changed because of humanity. The great hall of the Galactic Council looked the same as always. The crystal walls still glowed with ancient light. The circles of seats still surrounded the center. But the thrones of the Elder Five were empty. They would never be used again. Ambassador Hannah Yoon walked to the central platform. She wore the same simple clothes she had always worn. Her gray hair was tied back in the same way. But she did not walk like a servant anymore. She walked like someone who had earned her place. The 47 species watched her in silence. There was no laughter now. There was no mocking. There was only respect and perhaps a little fear. Hannah stood where she had once begged for recognition. She looked at the faces around her, remembering every insult, every rejection, every moment of humiliation. Then she began to speak. 1 year ago, you voted to destroy my people. You called it a harvest, as if we were crops to be collected. You did not ask our permission. You did not offer us a choice. You simply decided that we did not deserve to exist. Her voice was calm, but it carried to every corner of the vast chamber. For 80 years, I came to this hall and bowed. I listened to your insults. I accepted your rejection. Many of you thought I was weak. Many of you thought humanity was weak. You believed that because we did not fight back, we could not fight back. She paused, letting the silence grow. You were wrong. The words hung in the air like a blade. We did not stay silent because we were afraid. We stayed silent because we were learning. Every time you mocked us, we studied you. Every time you rejected us, we grew stronger. Every time you called us primitive, we built something new. You gave us 80 years to prepare, and we used every single day. She looked directly at the representatives of the Dralvian Empire. Their elder was gone, awaiting trial for crimes against countless species. The fleet you sent to harvest us does not exist anymore. Your great elder kneels in chains. Your secrets have been exposed to every species you ever oppressed. This is what happens when you underestimate humanity. Hannah took a breath. When she spoke again, her voice was softer, but no less powerful. But we did not come here for revenge. We came here for something you never offered us. Equality. She pressed a button on the podium. The display behind her showed a new symbol, a circle containing 48 stars, all the same size. The council will change. The elder system is over. Every species, young or old, will have an equal voice. There will be no more thrones. There will be no more masters. Every world will stand together, or we will all fall apart. Murmurs filled the chamber. Some species looked uncertain. Others looked hopeful. A few looked angry. To those who fear this change, Hannah continued, I say this. Humanity does not want to rule the galaxy. We do not want to become new elders. We want what we have always wanted. A seat at the table, a voice in the conversation, and the right to live without being called vermin. She smiled, and there was warmth in it now. To those who showed us kindness, who voted against our destruction when it was dangerous to do so, we remember you. Humanity does not forget its friends. You will find that we are loyal to those who stood beside us. It's in the back of the chamber. Dr. Sujin Beek sat with representatives from the 6 species who had voted against Earth's harvest. They had already signed agreements of friendship and technology sharing. Humanity would not hoard its gifts. It would share them with those who deserved trust. Hannah raised her hand. Today, I do not ask for permission to speak. Today, I do not beg for membership. Today, I announce that humanity takes its place in this council as equals. Not above you. Not below you. Beside you, she lowered her hand. The silence is over. Now we speak, and I hope you are ready to listen. The chamber was quiet for a long moment. Then, slowly, applause began. It grew until the crystal walls vibrated with the sound. 47 species, some reluctantly, some gladly, welcomed humanity into the galactic family. 1 week later, Admiral Wu Zhenkong retired. He stood on a beach in Korea, watching the sunset paint the sky in colors that no alien world could match. Beside him stood Captain Junho Park, who was no longer a captain. Admiral Park Woojin said slowly, as if testing how the words sounded. It fits you. Junho shook his head. I am not ready. You spent 60 years preparing for this moment. I have only been in the fleet for 10. In those 10 years, you led the strike team that captured Vothrock. You commanded a ship that destroyed 100 enemies without taking a single hit. You earned this. The old man put a hand on Junho's shoulder. I spent my life preparing for war. Now the war is over. It is time for someone younger to prepare for peace. He smiled, and it was strange to see such an expression on his stone face. Besides, I am tired. I want to watch sunsets and eat good food and maybe learn how to smile again.
Out.
You deserve rest. All of us do. They stood in comfortable silence as the sun disappeared below the horizon. Stars began to appear in the darkening sky. Somewhere up there, human ships patrolled the galaxy, protecting a peace that had been won with 80 years of patience. Far away, in the intelligence center beneath the ocean floor, Lieutenant Minji Seo frowned at her screen. Dr. Beak, she called. You need to see this. Sujin walked over and looked at the display. It showed a signal, faint and strange, coming from beyond the edge of the galaxy. The pattern was unlike anything they had ever seen. What is it? Sujin asked. I do not know, Minji admitted. It is not from any known species. It is not random noise. Someone, or something, is out there. And based on these readings, it has been watching the galaxy for a very long time. Sujin studied the data. The Elder Five knew about this. That is why they were so desperate to control the younger species. They were afraid of something. Should we tell Admiral Park? Sujin nodded slowly. Yes, and prepare Project Horizon for the next phase. We won one war. There may be another one coming. In his new office aboard the Aerorung, Admiral Junho Park received the report. He read it carefully, then set it down on his desk. Through his window, he could see Earth floating in the darkness, a blue and green jewel protected by the most advanced fleet in the galaxy. Something was watching from beyond the stars. Something ancient. Something powerful. The elders had feared it for millions of years. Jono smiled. Good, he said to himself. We were getting bored anyway. He picked up his communicator. All fleet commanders, this is Admiral Park. Begin long-range patrols beyond the outer rim. We have new mysteries to solve, and possibly new enemies to meet. He paused, looking at the stars. Humanity spent 80 years in silence. Let us see what else is out there hiding in the dark. The fleet moved. 300 ships spread across the galaxy, searching, watching, preparing. Humanity had proven itself against the Council. Now they would prove themselves against whatever lay beyond. And just like before, they would be ready, because that was what humanity did. They waited. They learned. They prepared. And when the time came, they spoke with a voice that shook the stars. The galaxy was about to learn that humanity's story was just beginning.